This is Gregaro McKool coming to you from the County Fence Biannual Skunk Works, deep in the wilderness of eastern Ontario. And this week, we're descending into the darkness that is the wild, untamed bush of northern Ontario. The County Fence digitization program is gathering steam, so if you want more of what we do here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, recommend us to your friends, and all that jazz. You can follow us on Mastodon, Substack, Reddit, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Links on the website. This is Hudson's Boys by literary editor Gregaro McKool. Sometime in the mid-'80s, Jules Octavian attended a party in Timmins, Ontario. There he saw a never-aired episode of a television show called Hudson's Boys. He's never forgotten that night. Inspired by Jerry Anderson's classic children's sci-fi show, Thunderbirds, Hudson's Boys follows a group of remote fishing guides as they perform rescue missions in the wilderness of northern Ontario, using a heliplane cobbled together with parts liberated from abandoned mid-Canada line radar stations. Apparently, the series was pitched to Northern Ontario media mogul J. Conrad Levine, owner of the biggest microwave network in the world at the time, who greenlit the production thinking a marionette-based show would be targeted at a youth audience. It was never aired, and only a handful of people have caught a glimpse. And only then, if they happened to be at a party attended by the enigmatic creator. As you know, I've been searching for County Fence's next step, and video production seems natural. It's also a massive undertaking for which none of us have experience. But a marionette-based show might be different. In the days of Anderson and his company Super Marionation, puppets were an expensive endeavor. Each puppet not only required a puppet maker, but often multiple puppeteers and a voice actor. Thunderbirds and the later Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons were also known for their detailed and elaborate sets, requiring a team of model makers in addition to the space to store them. That's over and above the usual television production requirements. But these are the days of 3D printers, pocket video production studios, and online video streaming. If Hudson's Boys follows 1970s Canadian children's television show production value, the bar won't be too high, and at least one season of the show has already been produced. Northern Ontario in the 60s and 70s was a place of opportunity. Remote, yes, and also a harsh landscape, it was also a place where one could find a well-paying job in mining or forestry with no experience. Cost of living was low, and the company towns popping up throughout the region were often designed by leading urban planners to ensure people actually wanted to weather a northern Ontario winter. This was a population that wanted to let their hair down with disposable income, who could build their own culture and communities. J. Conrad Levine began his career in the hotel industry, later moving into radio when he struggled to get English broadcasters to play French-Canadian music, Northern Ontario having a significant French-Canadian population. He parlayed that into regional television, ultimately becoming an independent-minded Canadian Broadcasting Corporation affiliate. The opportunity for Levine in Northern Ontario was the lack of population density. There was demand, but not enough for bigger broadcasters to invest in the required infrastructure. That's how Levine managed to own the biggest microwave network in the world. He needed it in order to cover the huge distances of this sparsely populated region. Yet in the end, this was Levine's downfall. Not the profitability, but rather the monopoly. When nobody else would invest in the region's broadcasting infrastructure, it meant Levine had a monopoly, ran afoul of competition laws, and had to be broken up. It was the end of an era. That era, however, was the perfect environment for shows like Hudson's Boys. Levine was producing a surprising amount of regional content, especially children's shows, and had the money to invest in new ideas. He signed off on Hudson's Boys. The creator disappeared for a year or two, and when he returned, he had a new show and the infrastructure required to rapidly and cheaply produce new episodes. It was Jim Henson that realized the television screen was the perfect puppet theater. In the early days of television, puppet theater was still a common form of children's entertainment. Filming it made for low-budget Saturday morning programming. However, Henson differed in that he envisioned the frame around the television screen as the theater itself, allowing literally anything to happen within that box. No longer did backgrounds need to be static arts and crafts affairs. They could go anywhere. It was also Henson who insisted the puppets need not be limited to children's entertainment, which is at least part of the Muppets' special sauce. Our creator believed Henson, but, fortunately for us here at County Fence, Levine did not. The YouTube creator business model has been well established. Reasonably popular shows through a mix of Patreon, merchandise, and advertisements can support a small crew of content creators. About the same sized crew as a low-budget puppet show would require. If we can track down the creator, we can at least give the episodes already in existence the audience they deserve. But we might also be able to reboot the show on a shoestring budget with a skeleton crew. It would be a bonus if any of the puppets have survived. The problem is that Jules no longer remembers the man's name, and Levine's CFCL Channel 6 is long since defunct. Given the man's approach to life at the party where Jules met him, it seems the creator of Hudson's Boys may no longer be with us either. And so the first task is to track down the original tapes, if they even still exist. As this first volume of County Fence comes to a close next week, I'll be leaving for Northern Ontario in Jules's Healy 3000 to search for them. Thanks, Jules. We'll be making use of the hashtag Hudson's Boys on our Mastodon account, where we'll be sleuthing out any information and reporting on anything we find. Wish me luck, and stay tuned.